There we go. There we go. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to Movie Night Podcast, episode 133. This time we did, and I kept thinking this was Dario Argento's movie, but he's just the producer of this.
Producer, yeah.
Lamberto Bava. I also thought
son of Mario Bava.
Okay, that's his son. Okay, I didn't know which one was which. Anyhow, we're doing Demons from 1985, I think. This is a wacky Italian zombie fest horror movie, and I freaking love it. So I'm sure Josh hates it, and that's all. Have a good night, guys. Yeah, this was Chris. Was this your pick?
You're muted.
Sorry, noise going on in the back.
Hey, pull the mic back a little bit. It's super loud.
Yeah, sorry, it's noisy
there we
over
go.
Here. Yes, my pick. Sorry.
Yeah, baby being crazy right now.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Dude, this movie rules. I like it so much. I watched it with Carissa and Bricken, and then, dude, check this out. So at the end of the movie, we're sitting there, and I'm all stoked, and Chris was like, that was a lot of fun. And I was like, Bricken, what'd you think? And he goes, I didn't like it. He got up and walked away. I was like,
Your son.
But he watched the whole movie, so I give him props for giving it.
He just sat there and watched it and didn't say anything, and then like, nah, didn't like it.
Yeah, I was like, bro, you could have left if you didn't want to watch it. He was like, oh, I'm like, dude, you don't have to watch him. I'm trying to figure out what it is that he likes. So I was like, well, all right, what's up, Julie?
That reminds me, me and Nathan sat down and watched The Matrix like a year or two ago, and we got to the end of the movie, and I was all excited that I watched it with him. I turned to him and like, how'd you like it? And he was like, that wasn't worth watching.
That's exactly how I felt. I was like,
and my heart just hit the ground. I'm like, man.
Dude, I heard an audible wah wah.
Yeah.
I was like, damn,
hurt my feelings, but that's what kids do.
Yeah, and I was like, what did you not like about it? And he goes, I just didn't like it. And I'm like, you're not gonna give me anything, huh? Just okay. I was like, all right, buddy,
too much slime.
Cinematography wasn't very good.
Right. I was like, we'll try again later, I guess. Oh yeah, I mean,
He wasn't into the soundtrack.
Dude, the soundtrack of this movie rules, okay?
That's pretty good.
Let's be honest here. I have seen this movie a handful of times. Josh, was it you that said you thought you had it and turned out to be Night of the Demons?
That was me.
You?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I knew one of y'all said that.
I have never seen it before. Man, it was good. I really liked it.
Let's go.
I was laughing and having a good old time.
It's a silly movie, man, but I really enjoyed this one.
It's goofy, but
that was what I expected.
Do what, Chris?
Yeah. Sorry, I say it's what I was expecting, pretty much.
And you hadn't seen it either? Am I the only one that had seen this?
Guess so.
Oh, that's cool. I thought one of y'all had seen it before. Maybe Hugh thought he saw it. It was the other one.
I thought I saw it. I could have sworn I had seen it. And I was like, yeah, I have that movie. I own it. And then I got to look at it. I was like, huh. And man, I started watching. I was like, I know I've seen this before. And I was like, huh. And then Josh made a comment about Linnea Quigley and the lipstick. I was like, wait, do I have the right movie? And then I looked again and I was like, dude, I just totally missed it somehow. I really wish I'd have seen this before, though. Because, man, when I was a kid, this would have been my jam. This would have been so right. I would have weekly renter.
I don't remember when I watched it. It was definitely within the last 10 or 12 years, I think. Maybe even sooner than that. But I've watched it a handful of times. It might have even been 5 years ago or so. It's not like I've been a fan of this one forever because I wasn't. But when I watched it, I was like, yeah. I was like, this right here. Actually, it probably was about 6 years ago because when Chris bought me the Italian version, I had already seen it and I was super psyched that you brought it to me. Yeah. So I was like, yes, dude, this right here.
Yeah, I'd blindly picked some, I don't know, more obscure Italian horror movies.
I remember because you were like, you seen that? And I was like, yeah, dude. And I was like, yeah.
I was ordering something from Amazon Italy. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, is that what it was?
I was like, let me piggyback off of a few things, and
that's awesome.
I just looked to find some, just I don't know, top kind of obscure, stuff that wasn't Argento, Fulci. Even though this is,
that's the good stuff, but it's also the stuff that's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is
but I
this
don't
like
know,
an
I like-
American Italian type
No,
thing?
no, no. This is
No, it's
Italian.
fully Italian. Yeah.
Huh.
Well, this is dubbed on Shudder.
But so, like, how do they end up with all these metal bands? That was
Well-
just cool to the
Well,
Italians?
like buying. So as far as I understand it, and I could be somewhat wrong, but
Mhm.
if you're over in Europe, buying renting the rights to use this in your film is far cheaper than it is over here because their laws are different. Like their copyright laws aren't the same. So
Yeah.
like if I understand it right, like you just pay a licensing fee of some kind, and you have access to a library of stuff, and you go in there and you pick each song. Again, if I'm wrong, my apologies, but I think you can pick each song and then you pay. Well, I'm talking mostly to the audience because somebody's going to go, oh, blah, 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 and probably reiterate what I'm saying to make it more accurate. But you have like a library and you pick songs and you pay a fee according to how many songs you picked. I think that's how it works. But I know it's easier over there than it is here.
Yeah.
So they
I've
just
heard
burned
that
it
more.
down.
Yeah, they're
Pretty
doing
high
this-
profile soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack with this was awesome.
Yeah.
They had, I made some notes. They had Billy Idol, Saxon,
Yeah.
Accept, which was the song through the theater was Accept, Fast as a Shark. I freaking love that jam. They had Motley Crue. I'd never heard Save Our Souls. For some reason, I came in and like Shout at the Devil. That was like my Motley Crue experience. I never listened to Theater of Pain. So Save Our Souls, I was like, oh man, is that Motley Crue? They had Go West, Rick Springfield. I mean, it had some stuff on here. I was really
Well,
surprised.
So to be
Yeah.
really clear about it, I really like this soundtrack because it's in a movie. But like the music that's in the movie outside of the movie, I'm not really into. But that's like one of the major selling points of this movie was like the poster had like with music from, and it had it like like a quarter of the poster had it on there. Yeah, it had like
That's
a big ass because they do that now occasionally. They'll have a super the Spider-Man movie. I heard a lot about the soundtrack before it came out. It was produced by Metro Boomin, and it had all this stuff going on for it. So I like when movies focus on a soundtrack and put like a little bit of effort into it because you get like really cool projects, and then occasionally you'll get songs that are specifically for the movie. But back then they were mostly picking out hit songs and cool shit that people already liked and putting it in the movies. This movie was awesome, man. Josh, what did you think? Did you like it at all or no?
I thought it was fun. I mean, I'm
Okay.
not going to say I loved it or anything, but
I would be pretty surprised if you loved it.
yeah, it was goofy fun. It felt like an 80s Argento produced movie. Like we did Stage Fright not too long ago, a few months ago. It very much feels in the same vein as that. It's like a bunch of people stuck in one big room together, and there's some sort of evil that they're
Excuse me.
fighting, you know. It's got a very similar concept and very similar sort of musical that was more like saxophone and shit, but it was a very 80s soundtrack. Also I don't know if you guys have seen this. I know Chris has, but The Church
It's on my list.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Originally that was supposed to be Demons 3. So I was watching this and I was like, oh, okay, I can kind of see how this is a very, very similar plot. It's a bunch of people, trapped in a room, and there's a bunch of demon stuff, craziness happening.
Yeah.
But, pretty similar.
I would say I like The Church quite a bit more.
I do too.
But
I don't remember The Church. Have I seen that one?
I'm not sure, but it's really good. It's the same director that did Stage Fright and Cemetery Man.
I think that's the one that I missed out on. I haven't watched that one yet because I remember you bringing that up now.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Well, Demons 2 is like if you like Demons 2, if you like Demons 1, you'll like Demons 2 because it's like one giant movie, dude. It's so now Church, I assume you'll like that one as well, and if they like it more, then I probably won't, so I'll probably just skip it. No, I'm playing. But I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah,
What makes you like Church better? What makes you like it better? What about it is better? Is it just better acting?
It's basically this premise, except it's in a church, so there's a lot more. I don't know. It's weirder. Honestly,
there's a bit more. There's just a bit more going on story wise.
Yeah,
I think.
There's more of a theological background to the demon that they unleash and stuff, and there's there's a little bit more to this the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
I'm
really
definitely interested.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because this one I felt was really just lacking some story. Like I got kind of bored about halfway in. Like I was kind of interested, and then I felt like there was a big lull, kind of about like 40,
I stopped
50
it
minutes.
last night at about halfway, and then picked it up again this evening. So yeah, I kind of felt that too, man.
Yeah.
But it was still a banger. I thought.
Based on the absolute garbage that I tend to watch, I never felt a lull in this movie, so I watched it all in one sitting. I'm not going to even act like I don't watch absolute hot shit. So, I thought
the pacing was impeccable in comparison.
It absolutely was. So, I mean, dude, sometimes I watch these movies and I'm like, dude, did they do anything in the last 18 minutes? I don't think they did. I think they were sitting still and not even talking. They were just like,
there's a guy sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was just rocking back and smoking a pipe for like the last 14 minutes. And I was like,
but
yeah, something's about to happen.
Yeah, it's
any second now.
Any second now, dude. That's.
But I pick boring movies somehow.
It's unfortunate, but you do.
I love it. At least do I need to rewind this, or should I just let it go? Should I rewind? I think I missed something. Nah, it's fine. Just keep going.
At least he knows.
You don't have to pay attention to it.
Somebody's about to get killed in his.
Do what, Chris?
Somebody's about to get killed in yours, or something crazy is going to happen.
Oh, the tell when somebody's about to get killed is people making out. If you see two people making out heavily, they're about to die.
100%.
Yeah, but yeah, this one kind of like right when they like barricaded off all the demons, and they were all just kind of like hanging out at like the in the top level of the movie theater.
Yeah,
it was really when I was like, okay, yeah, they aren't doing anything. They're just kind of like waiting it out. And it was like 10, 15 minutes of the movie where, I mean, they introduced the crazy like street punks or whatever the hell they were, and doing coke in the car and.
Yeah, you could tell.
How funny was that random ass like shift change and stuff? Like it just like all of a sudden you got new people involved.
Yeah, you could tell that they just ran out of ideas. Like we have to introduce something new into the plot.
Because I mean, there was no point to them. Just it's the 80s. We need to show some people doing coke or something in this.
Where'd that helicopter come from?
I mean, I don't have an answer for that.
We needed to show some more boobs, you know.
But I mean, to the other people's credit, like them like breaking in kind of kickstarted it again, and like it brought me back in, and it got fun. I mean, in the end was pretty awesome. But freaking dude with the samurai sword, and he hops on the freaking dirt bike.
I like when the chick gets a beat down with the AC grate, and she's like,
"Oh yeah."
I was like, "Whoa, that's a creative way to die."
Yeah.
That's
and the punkers, man. There's a scene when the punker freaks out, and he's in the room or whatever. He's like, "What the frick is wrong with this place?" And then he's wearing a vest, and they do a shot of him, and he's all with his vest on. I was like, "Oh God, dude!" And then they walk through a door, and his friend pushes him out of the way real quick. He's like, "Asshole!" And I'm like, "What's going on with these guys?" Like this whole scene,
they're on coke.
Yeah, they were like,
what's going on?
They were like fighting because they were all doped up.
Yeah.
Oh like, man, I was laughing so hard. I rewound it like 3 times just to see it again.
Dude, every time they had like a real big close up and some skin bubbling, Krista was like, "Oh," I could hear her being like, and I was just like, "Yeah."
Dude.
The pustules.
The slime, all the extra slime was just like, all right.
Dude,
what about the teeth? What about the close up of the teeth?
That was pretty cool.
Close up of the teeth was pretty dope. I gotta say, that was pretty dope.
Yeah, and most of the effects were pretty good. So
yeah, I absolutely love this movie so much, dude. I don't know if I give it like a 9 or a 10, but it's definitely like an 8 or an 8.5 for me.
Yeah, and I was watching it and I was like, I can see how horror fans just love this movie.
Dude, there's a guy on a motorcycle riding around in a movie theater slashing demons up with a samurai sword. Like,
Yeah,
not
It
to
doesn't
love.
get any better.
I mean it does, but
Yeah,
it's
I mean-
pretty good.
I mean, it just like they had a really good like 20, 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
they just drug it out with some meaningless plot stuff and
It should
some
be
dumb
like
dialogue, and they they fumble around a lot in the movie
Bo's
theater.
Afraid or what?
no motorcycles and Bo's Afraid,
No.
unfortunately.
There should
Or
have been.
samurai swords.
But there was a giant hog in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
That was probably like my least favorite and most favorite part of the entire movie simultaneously.
Yeah, just
But Bo's Afraid?
yeah,
Yeah,
just hit streaming today, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
what
did
platform?
I mean, just like
rental,
rental
Oh,
stuff.
rental. That don't matter. I don't.
Yeah.
Rent it.
I don't know.
I thought
if
maybe this
gonna
will be
get-
on Max or something. I watch it on Max.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be on a like
No.
like Max or something like that.
A24, yeah.
Probably not.
How do you feel about? Oh, that is A24. Huh? How do you feel about the Nosferatu thing coming out?
Interested?
I'm-
Interested in that? Are you?
I'm pretty interested, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I really need another Nosferatu story, but
That's kind of how I feel. But I think I still might watch it. It's.
Yeah, I
kinda
mean, I
have
watched-
to.
I mean, I watched the Klaus Kinski one not too long ago, and man, I love that movie. That movie was awesome.
I don't think
So-
it gets any better than that.
So I mean, it's not necessarily a high bar to get there, but I don't know. I did just watch something I really like, so I got.
I mean, that matters though. You don't want to like watch something you really like and then go watch one that you're not sure about and then just be like, "Man, that sucked." And in reality, it wasn't that bad, but you were already like high on another version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if
Skarsgård in it, I mean,
it was anybody but Eggers, I probably wouldn't be that.
That's kind of
interested in it.
exactly what I thought when I found
Yeah.
out about it. Was like, oh, this guy has to be making it. I've got to watch it at least once.
But like he seems to be like the perfect person to make that though.
Right.
Like
It
if
totally
anybody's
fits.
gonna if anybody's gonna do something, because that's what I really liked about the Klaus Kinski one. It's super vibey. It's not the most exciting movie in the world, but just got this really cool vibe. And Klaus Kinski is just a psychopath, and it's awesome.
I don't know if
So-
I've seen that. Is this streaming?
I don't
Pretty
know
sure
how
it's on.
about it.
I'm pretty sure it's on Shutter or something.
I would, yeah, probably so.
Okay, I'll have to get.
I think that's
think
what I
I-
watched it on.
It's worth watching just for Klaus Kinski. He
There's
is a freaking maniac.
There's two of them, right? Isn't there two of them
I mean, there's
with
I mean,
Klaus
there's-
Kinski? I think there's.
with Klaus. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's Nosferatu the vampire, and then there's Nosferatu in Venice or something.
Oh, is he in? The one I'm talking about is Nosferatu the vampire.
Yeah, there's two of them, I think.
Okay, I
Dracula
didn't.
needed a vacation.
I don't think I realized the other one was.
Yeah,
Kinski.
right.
I think they're both Kinski. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm making a movie about the vampire being in Venice because I really need to go to.
Yeah, really.
I think they're both Werner Herzog too.
Okay.
I gotta check.
I think I just assumed they weren't connected in any way, but if they are, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Okay. I'm checking to see if I'm off, but I think I'm right.
Dude, I think I put Demons up there with most any other 80s zombie movie that I could think of off the top of my head. What other ones from the 80s that are like really good?
Demons movies?
No, just zombie stuff like in
I kind of feel like Return of the Living Dead is like right next to it, kind of in
Oh.
a slot of its own.
Uh,
mean, it has the
even-
Return's the better one in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. But this
Yeah.
has some, the death metal
Yeah.
soundtrack, the punkers, the zombies, like kind of things. It's more gory, I would say, but yeah.
Oh, this one is far more gory than Return. But I think Return's a better movie. Like it's got a better
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, it's a little more gritty. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Return's way more punk rock too, and that's definitely
It's
something I would
California.
prefer.
I mean, it's not Italian.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
California punker.
Yeah.
But I do put Demons up there, excuse me, with any movie from that era, especially. But like in my personal like top 10 or 20 zombie movies, this is gonna be in that list. Like I love this movie. But
Yeah.
my criteria is very much it's specific. I don't really need a story. I mean, I like now if there is a story in a movie that also hits all the other points that I want, it obviously is going to rank higher than the others, right? But like, I mean, Dude, although, speaking of zombie movies, have y'all seen the trailer for Final Cut?
Final Cut.
Oh, the one you watched today, yeah.
The One Cut of the Dead remake? I'm super irritated because it looks good, and I'm really mad because I don't think they need to make this movie.
Oh, they're doing an American remake of it?
Yeah, but it actually looks good because they changed some stuff. It's not just a cut for cut or shot for shot remake. It's like they took the idea of it and then like because one of the things about it is that it's on a zero budget. There's no money for that movie, so they had a little bit of money on this one. It looks like, but it looks like the same story with a few. So I mean, it also could come out and just be terrible, but I'm at least interested at this point. And when I heard about it, I was definitely not. So
yeah,
because that movie is up in probably my top 5 zombie movies of all time. My
it's
personal
good. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I liked it.
One Cut of the Dead. It's just so original. When I watched it the first time, it actually got me. Like I was completely fooled by that movie the first time I watched it.
We did it on the show, but I think it was before Hugh joined on.
Yeah, it was probably like a few months before. It wasn't even that far ahead of time.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
It's this Japanese movie that you need to watch without knowing anything about it.
Yeah. You just gotta stick with it for like the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna think it's bad, but then it's not. It's really good.
Yeah, it totally fooled me, bro. Like at one point I was like, what am I watching? And like 10 minutes later I was like, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, everyone was
like,
yeah.
She was like,
it's not what you think it is.
No, it is not. It's an awesome movie, man. I'd really actually love to get your opinion on that, Hugh. If you have the time. It's not real long. It's like 95 minutes, something like that.
I'll watch it. Yeah, if you said it's in your top 5, I mean, hell, I'm watching it.
It is in my top zombie movies, like not horror movies.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, but it's just wholly original, man. When I watched it, I couldn't believe. Like, don't read nothing about it. Just if you can watch it, just give it a shot.
Yeah,
I'll get into it.
I was so happy that I watched it by accident. Somebody told me, "Hey, watch this," and they wouldn't tell me nothing about it. So I was like, "All right," and I just put it off, and I put it off, and I put it off, and then I finally watched it, and I was so happy that I didn't get ruined with that one because I rarely have a surprise. Like I don't usually get surprised by movies, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I'm like, okay, that's pretty much what I expected.
Yeah, and just knowing a surprise is enough. Like no more than that. Just there is something. That's all you need to know.
I'm so curious about this American one, dude. I hope it's at least cool. Man, did they make or were they gonna make a American Train to Busan?
I had heard about that a few times, but I don't think it ever went through.
Okay, so it was something that was like in talks or something.
Yeah,
because I was like, man, that's one that I was super irritated by. I was like, please do not remake a perfect movie. Like, what are you doing, man? Like that movie is so good. Like,
yeah, I could see approving on One Cut of the Dead, but not really Train to Busan. I mean, a much higher budget, so I don't see what you can do other than just remake it in America with English,
which I just don't need because I don't care. Like I would just assume read it. Like, Kenna that did the show earlier, she likes Bong Joon-ho as well, and I was like, dude, this chick is
nice.
Like she's on her way to being like a real fan of film. Like she likes a lot of cool stuff, man. I'm happy I met her, dude. It's a good new person to talk movies with because even at Alamo, you'd be shocked at how many people up there that don't even care about movies. It's kind of shocking to me.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was like, at least there's someone working at the theater that actually watches movies.
I mean, there's probably like 50% of them that I'm like, hey, have you seen this? Like, I don't really watch movies like that. I'm like, wow. I mean, whatever. It's a job. So, but it surprises me that you'd pick to work at that restaurant and not even care about movies at all. It's like, man, to go and work at an Italian place, like, yeah, I prefer Chinese, but I'll work here. Like, I guess.
I don't like pizza.
Yeah, absolutely hate pasta, but
man, there's people at my job. I'm like, don't you like markets? And they're like, no, I never watch them. I don't know anything about them.
He's like, this is my life. What is wrong?
That's like movies to me, anyway.
Wow,
that sucks, dude. People are weird, man. They'll just fall into these little ruts and just keep on going. I'm just like, I just can't. I can't do it, man.
Yeah, with stuff like that, I figured there's other places you can go work, like
especially in the service industry.
You're not that tied to.
Yeah, true that.
Man, I have gotten probably 80 movies just off my DVD shelf that I'm getting rid of, dude. Like, I'm making some real space here. I was like, oh shoot, this is gonna be. I'm gonna rearrange my whole shelf system at the new place.
Are you just taking them to the shop to sell them, or?
Yeah, I got one that I'm gonna give to Kenna because she's never seen Tigers Are Afraid. I think I've got multiple copies of that at the shop, so I don't need it. But I'm gonna give that. Other than that, yeah, they're all going up there. Nothing like. I don't know that y'all would care about any of it. Like Troll 2 is in there, which somebody might want at the shop, but like I can't imagine y'all want that.
I have that on VHS.
That's kind of. I mean, that's the way to have that movie.
Thank you, Julie.
You want to be able to not see it. It needs to be as bleary as possible.
It needs to look as bad as you could possibly get it to look for it to look as good as it could possibly look.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of depth in Demons, so we don't have a lot we can talk about with that particular movie. But it was a fun movie. I enjoyed the process. It was one of the ones where when you said it, I already knew. Okay, at least I know for a fact that I'm going to enjoy this movie, and I'll probably get my wife to watch it. And she thought it was like silly but fun. She basically felt kind of like Josh did. She didn't love it, but she definitely had a fun time watching it. And she's like, "That's enough goo and pus for me to have in my weekly viewing." But
a lot of goo.
Dude, I think she accidentally started liking these crappy B movies with me, and it's amazing, dude.
If you brainwash anyone long enough, then they
eventually... That's what I've been trying to do, man. I've been working on it for a solid 6 years.
If you just keep waterboarding them, they just submit.
Josh.
Yeah, eventually you're gonna
Follow
like my movies, Josh. Were you here when I was talking about Crazy Thunder Road?
Mm-mm.
So this is one of the ones Chris got me, and I was like, it was between this one and Samurai Punk. And Samurai Punk, he forgot to tell me was.
There she is.
I'm brainwashing my wife, guys.
As long as she's aware.
Right. That was pretty funny because I did not expect that. So Samurai Punk, so Samurai Punk was Region 2, and he forgot to tell me, so I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. So I was just like, whatever. I'll watch this one. So I threw this one in. Dude, this movie. It's like,
what's it called again?
It's called Crazy Thunder Road.
Okay.
It's like the Warriors, the Outsiders, Grease.
Do they sing?
No, but it's got all the hot rod stuff and the greasy hair and stuff. So it's got like no, I would not watch that. But it's like all those movies mixed together. It's got the same kind of like biker gangs and greasy hair and like rock and roll. But the best part about it is that they're just completely off with the tone. And so there's like one part where this dude's getting the absolute shit beat out of him, and it's like da-na-na-na, 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 woo, da-na-na-na. This dude's like, I'm dying, and they're just kicking the crap out of him. And I'm like, wait, is this supposed to be happy? Because this guy's dying, like, and it's like for real, like he's getting murdered. They're just like doo-wopping it up, like with some good old up-tempo rock and roll. It's so strange, but like overall, the whole movie rules, dude. There's this guy named Jin, Jin. And he's my favorite character. So if you watch it, dude, Jin's awesome. But it's a really, really cool movie. I'm super glad to have it. And it's this is exactly the kind of stuff that I want to talk about on this channel. It's weird, like little gems that I discover. Like I found this on like a list of like best punk rock Japanese movies. And I was like, that's a weird list. What's on this? And like 4 of them I wanted to check out.
Yeah, I mean, like you sent me this list. I looked at like 2 of them. I was like, wait, these are the same director. Are all these going to be the same? They were all the same director.
Are they really all the same director?
One of them, the Punk Samurai, was pretty new, right? But all the other ones were, I think, 70s to 80s.
Dude, there's like Japanese country music in this movie. It is really weird.
That's
like
awesome.
Dude, it is. I'm telling you guys, you get a chance to watch this one. We paused it so we can finish it after the podcast. So I'm going to get off here in a few minutes just to go finish it. But like, it's such a silly, fun time. But it's like, I did get a little attached to some of the characters because the whole movie's about this one group of dudes. And it's like, I don't want to tell you what's going on in it because I want to see if you can figure out what's going on. Because it took me like a couple of like rewinds and to figure out what is actually happening in this movie. But it's actually kind of a heavy subject, and it's really, I don't know, man. This is cool stuff. I'm glad I discovered this little weird Japanese movie, man. The more I tweak my own collection, the more absolutely ridiculous it's getting, and I'm here for it, man. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's got a bunch more movies too.
Does he really?
Like there was some interesting looking ones.
Well, anyone that you want to figure out, let me know. But I got Crazy Thunder Road. We got Panic in High School. It's so obscure we couldn't even find art for the back of it. It's just white. But I'll be watching this one pretty soon. And we got obviously Samurai Punk. This is the first one that I was interested in. This thing, I mean, this looks like a movie I don't want to watch. And then we have one called Electric Dragon 80,000 Volts. I don't know what that means, but it's an epic name.
That's a lot of volts.
It is a lot of volts. And it says there is no higher voltage, as a matter of fact, on the back of this. So just in case you weren't aware, there's no more than 80,000. It does not go to 80,001.
I'm not an electrician, but that sounds accurate.
Listen to this, dude. Reptile, that's ridiculous. Reptile investigator Dragon Eye Morrison has possessed high voltage superpowers ever since a childhood accident at a power station. With megawatts of power coursing through his body, he discharges his surplus energy by playing high voltage rock and roll with his electric guitar.
Oh shit! How old is this?
Come on. 8? This is only a third of what I'm fixing to read to you guys.
Oh no.
He spends his days looking for lost lizards in the alleyways of Tokyo, and his nights fighting
the same thing.
Fighting the reptilian part of his brain that is making him increasingly violent. A shadowy figure named Thunderbolt Buddha soon surfaces and begins following Dragon Eye about town. A former TV repairman turned supervillain.
All right, I'm in.
Dude, I know, right? Buddha uses his high-powered love of technological devices to aid in his evil plans. Powered up to the max in his electrical bodysuit, the two finally come face-to-face in an all-out electrified rock and roll battle for supremacy of Tokyo.
I just watched that whole movie in my mind.
Me too, and I want to do it again.
It's only like an hour long.
Yeah,
too, right?
It's really short. This is a really short movie.
Yeah.
Is this? Do you found this, Chris?
No, Randy did. I mean, I made them for him.
Oh,
but
no, like, dude, trust me, I have a list of shit that I haven't even tried to give him because it's so weird and obscure. But this reminds me of not reminds me of, but it feels like it's in this. It sounds like we were watching this tomorrow. It sounds like you were correct, sweetheart.
What year is this from? Like, when was
1914? I don't know.
1980, I think, something like that.
Silent film.
It says 2001 on this thing, so I don't know what that means.
There's just piano music.
Japan was really ahead of its time.
But no, like it reminds me of Big Trouble. It has that like weird zany.
Yes.
What's the other one that was like Big Trouble that I also watched? That was I think it was Asian as well.
The Chinese one.
Seventh Curse.
Yeah, was it? No.
Zoo Warriors.
Zoo Warriors.
Yeah.
And Seventh Curse. But it feels like a Japanese version of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a little bit older and lower, even lower budget than those already low budget movies were.
I need a movie that's made for $14 and a bag of chicken wings, dude. Like I need that kind of movie. Like. But yeah, this sounds crazy fun, man. And
and dude, Electric Dragon and Crazy Thunder Road, I think, both had like recent re-releases on some smaller boutique.
Yeah,
label.
I just couldn't afford them whenever I told you about them.
Like when you brought them up, I was like, man, I kind of just want to buy these, but they might be terrible.
I certainly wish I had now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still out there. I don't think they're.
I'm gonna look it up right now. What's
super
the
limited
Thunder Road? Because
this
I like enough that I wouldn't mind having it.
I wanted to watch at least one before I pulled the trigger on buying anything.
That's not a terrible idea, sir.
I mean, probably you have better odds if you're going to enjoy it. I mean, could be hit or miss for me. So I was like, at least wanted to check something out.
Man, honestly, I'm pretty stoked with the one you made me. I like the stuff you make me, dude. I think it's rad that you do that for me. So I'm good with that, man.
Man, he sent me a couple pictures today. I was gonna make a T-shirt of like a still of Hellraiser's face, the new priestess, he sent me a couple 4D screenshots. I was like, oh, thank you. And there was a really good, just a gem in there. I was like, I can see that.
Yeah. What are you doing with it?
You can make your own T-shirt. Send them an image, and they'll stick it on a shirt. And
that's what I thought you said, but I thought for a second that I might have misunderstood what you were saying.
I don't know if they're gonna shoot a 4K image onto my shirt, but I'll spend $30 on the idea.
I can tell you for a certainty they will not, but it's still probably worth a couple bucks to get a shirt made.
Hell yeah. But they don't have any good new Hellraiser stuff, so I was gonna just try and make one. Nice. So Chris was like, "Hey, I'll get some images," and boom!
I will say, stuff. One of the pluses for me moving is that I'm going to have more space to work on screen printing, and I've already got a whole little station that I'm fixing to set up in there. And Chris is helping me get it worked out, and it's going to be pretty dope, man. I found our subreddit that has all these stencils that are all now. You guys won't care about this stuff as much because it's mostly punk band stuff, but it's going to help me get stencils for patches and back patches and T-shirts that I can then produce and sell on eBay and stuff. And dude, there's no telling, man. I might be able to make enough money doing other things that I don't have to continue to work at these places. So that would be the ultimate goal, to have just my shop and then a couple $100 a week through these other avenues. And, that would be enough money to do what I need to do. So,
man, when we were at Houston Horror Fest and those people were slinging those little cheap shirts, like $15 for one and two for 20 or whatever, I was like, man, everybody in this place has bought a shirt from this Joker. It just $20 for 2 shirts. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think it was 2 for 25 or 15 a piece. And then I think if you got real crazy and wanted to buy 10 from the guy, he would have given you a better deal because you just bring out some cash. And he was a cool guy. But the thing is that that's the kind of shirts that I make. 1 and 2 color, easy print. I can make those, dude. But mine still aren't quite as good as his. But it's not gonna take much longer before they will be. Dude, don't let me fuck around and learn how to do a 2-color print, because I'll be making all kinds of cool shit. And I started doing it with that horror hangout print, and it's coming out pretty good. So I'm gonna start fooling with some other stuff and all that jazz. But Mr. Josh, it's your week to pick the movie. What are we watching this week, sir?
Yeah, so I've had this movie picked out for a month, and it's been on Amazon Prime, and now it's only on Showtime.
I don't have Showtime.
Nobody has Showtime.
I got Showtime.
I can figure it out.
I'm not really joking. I'm just busting your balls.
It's Bringing Out the Dead.
Oh, I love this movie.
The Martin Scorsese movie.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I don't need to rent that. I've got that.
I'm sure you own it.
Movie.
I figured Randy had it. Yeah.
I was I know that movie. Why do I know that movie? And
I did the same thing.
Do what?
No, I did the same thing. I was like, well, I know that movie, but
yeah.
No, that's
Is this in celebration of Scorsese?
Not necessarily. I've been sort of revisiting some of his stuff and some of the Paul Schrader stuff, but
he's got the new movie coming out. I thought you were trying to, kind of give some homage to him or something.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we haven't talked about his stuff that much. We talked about it in general, but we haven't really talked about one of his movies for a long time. So I thought this would be a good one.
Hell yeah.
You've seen it before?
I've seen it, but it's been 10 years ago. And, Nicolas Cage had this, he kind of goes in phases and waves, right?
Mm-hmm.
He'll make some great stuff, and then he'll sort of make a whole bunch of crap. And then he'll make some great stuff again. And I think this was in sort of, he was cresting from, he didn't mind making some weird movies.
Late 90s, yeah.
Yeah, and Scorsese was probably as good as it was going to get for him for a little while, and then he starts making Left Behind 8 or whatever, and you're like, dude, what is this shit?
So I have this theory that Nick Cage got so bad that because he wasn't bad in the movies were just terrible movies.
Yeah.
And but that got people like me interested enough to where he became a cult icon again, and then he got these movies like Mandy, Color Out of Space, stuff like that. And that propelled him into being this icon again. And now he's getting to pick through a bunch of B-level stuff.
Whatever he
and
wants.
Pick out the shit that he really likes.
I'm gonna disagree. I think he just took every paycheck that he could get for a while.
I'm not denying that.
And now he can be a little more picky again.
Yeah, but I'm saying I was describing how that happened.
Yeah, I don't think
not that didn't happen.
far off.
No, I fully adhere to the fact that he was spending so much money that he had to take movies that were terrible ideas to pay for his spending.
Yeah, I think he had like, I don't know if it was tax issues or
Yeah,
something.
it was
he had
that
like
in spending. He got also lost like a castle or something. Like
yeah,
It was. I think
about
he owned a house in Louisiana. Chris, you probably know he had like a fat, rare historic place on Beale Street, or no? Is it what's the place in Louisiana that everybody goes to?
You're thinking about Bourbon, probably, but
Bourbon Street. Yeah.
I don't think it was on Bourbon Street.
Oh, was it not?
But it was French Quarter somewhere.
well,
Yeah.
my thought process was like all that BS he had to go through ended up being like a happy accident because that got him attention that he wouldn't have gotten had he just done the right thing and then not had some of these movies. Because like stuff like the Bad Lieutenant movie, dude, I'm shocked how many people like that movie because I love it. But it's like it's not good. Like so
that's
like
still
that,
like him probably wanting to work with Werner Herzog and stuff.
Oh, yeah. It just ended up with this spot where he's like, oh man, I can do all this stuff now, and he's got all these great roles being written for him now because he's back to being desirable, and it's just this full circle of crazy. And I just can't imagine being that dude. I watched I watched part of it. I'm still got to finish it. Podcast with Joe Rogan and Pauly Shore. And Pauly Shore's talking about how he lived next door to Nicolas Cage for a while, and he would go over there and hang out with Nicolas Cage and the craziest shit that this guy would do. And that's what got me wanting to listen to the podcast. I was like, well, if it's Pauly Shore hanging out with Nick Cage, I'm in, dude. Like that is me. I want that.
That's a wild night.
I think
That's a movie in itself.
yeah, just listening to them talk for an hour would be insane.
Like that new movie Nick Cage is going to be in, where I guess he's playing like the devil or something.
Yeah,
Dude,
something like that.
It looks amazing, dude. I cannot wait for that movie. It's like if Nick Cage was and what's the guy's name? Joel Kinnaman?
Yeah.
Like Joel Kinnaman and Nick Cage were if they remade that movie with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, this is exactly what you'd get.
Yeah, Sympathy for the Devil, I think is the name of it.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it's like he gets picked up, he gets in that car with that dude and starts doing the same thing Tom Cruise did to Jamie Foxx. And then it's Nick Cage, so it's all I don't know. I can't articulate what I'm thinking, but it makes sense to me, which is probably not going to make sense to anybody else. So never mind.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those that it could be the freaking greatest movie of the year, or it could just be a steaming pile. It looks fun.
Like Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Yeah,
That was,
I wasn't a very good movie, but I like it.
That's my point. Is it looked awesome on the trailer, and then we went and watched it, and it was like, I enjoyed it. I still own it, but it's like I can admit that movie was a swing and a miss.
Yeah,
but it was very pretty. It was really pretty to look at.
Yeah, it was very pretty to look at. A lot of cool stuff in it.
Yeah, but it was just like as a whole piece of art, it was like could have not watched
that. Which was better? Which bad Lieutenant was better, Keitel or Cage?
Don't even ask me that. You know the answer to that question.
I haven't seen either of them.
So okay, I've seen both of them more than once, and I don't even really like the Keitel one that much. Something about it, like Nick Cage doing it, it was like schlocky good fun because he was like, Harvey Keitel doing it, it was like sad because
super grimy
because the character's so gross, and I was like, ugh.
Abel Ferrara makes mean, gritty movies. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That.
Well, like coming out.
Like in the Nick Cage when he like screams at this old woman and like you feel kind of bad until he keeps doing it, and then you realize it's just hilarious, and he scares the living crap out of this old lady, and you're like it just goes so far past being like it ends up in ridiculous town, and you're like, what is this fool doing? Man,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I always felt like I would like the Bad Lieutenant, but for some reason I've been holding off on it.
Which one? The Keitel one?
The original one, yeah.
I'd like to have your opinion on that. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it.
I think
it's a tough watch.
I think Kino's putting out like a new 4K that's the uncut version. So I'm probably gonna get that when it comes out.
I might have to borrow that one. I don't know if I'm willing to buy it, but I wouldn't mind watching it.
Let me know when that thing comes out if you could, because I like that movie. When I saw it when I was really, really young, I just looked it up. I was 14 when it came out, and I probably saw it on HBO at that time. And I made it to like the scene where he pulls the chicks over, and
I was literally thinking about that in my head just now.
Yeah, and I remember like at 14, I was so like disgusted. I just
Well, you're
I couldn't
insecure at that
believe it.
point, and you're like, "There's no way somebody would do that."
Chris,
Yeah,
have you seen this movie?
No.
Okay.
So
but,
we're the only two that
anyway.
know what we're talking about. Then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man,
yeah, we don't want to tell you because it'll ruin it.
It like scarred me for life. And then
Ma-
there's a couple scenes where Harvey Keitel goes, full Monty, and I was kind of like, Harvey, what are you doing? But
It messed me up a
Man.
little bit too, actually. That scene
Yeah, it was-
specifically.
I think when that 4K comes out, I might use that as my pick, so we can talk about that movie because I feel like that would be a good discussion.
It's
I
gonna
like
be
it a lot.
it's gonna be a rough discussion for sure. I mean,
scarred for life though.
I'm willing to watch it again just to talk with you guys about it, but I'm gonna go ahead and just give you a heads up. I'm not gonna have a lot of positive to say about it because it's
Okay.
it's a gnarly one.
Yeah.
But I will watch it just
Fair enough.
out of respect for you guys because I think that you'll watch stuff that you don't necessarily want to watch with me.
Well,
so.
I try and pick things that are not just like gonna make everybody happy, but will be like interesting to talk about. And I feel like that movie would at least be a good discussion.
Yeah, I'll have a lot of similar stuff that I said about Irreversible. I think if I remember it correctly, it's not quite that kind of grime, but it's in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of that sort of material.
But like you said, man, it's this is a show about conversation, not just sitting here going, "Oh, I liked it."
Yeah, for sure.
There's plenty of movies that we're gonna watch that we all just sit here and laugh about, like demons. I almost said zombies. About demons, but there's plenty of time for that. But I do, contrary to what it may seem like, sometimes like to challenge myself and watch stuff that's not necessarily comfortable. But
that's good.
Yeah. It's an interesting movie. I remember when I was pretty young. I think I was talking about another movie that I'm not really a big fan of, Clockwork Orange, when they said, if you've watched that, you should give this a watch. And I was like, why would you even tell me that? I didn't like. And they're like, no, but you like. And they referenced Reservoir Dogs. They said, you like Reservoir Dogs? It's got that guy Harvey Keitel in it. And I didn't know much about him at the time. And I was like, okay, so that's the first time I watched it. I was I don't know if I was 14, but I was probably 16 or so. I think my dad was still alive. It was a VHS tape. And I was just like, wow. Like, hopefully my mom does not find this one in my room because
I watched that. The first time I watched it with my dad. I specifically remember watching that movie. Yeah. And I was kind of just like, oh my God. And I was probably
that's a bold
like
move, Pops.
12. Yeah, dude. I was like, Dad, I'm surprised. My dad would let me watch almost anything. But I think he kind of regretted that one a little.
my dad was the same way. He would like let me watch all kinds of stuff and then be like, "Don't tell your mom." Like, I can't. I'm a kid. I'm gonna tell everybody. Like, not only that, but
I saw some boobs,
dude. Thank you. And I watched a bunch of awesome movies, dude. Like, the thing was, my dad didn't have like he couldn't judge a movie based on like, it was like, oh, it kind of thought it might be like a Schwarzenegger flick, but it's like some NC-17.
Yeah, right.
Crazy. And my mom was like, smack. Yeah. And I'm like, it's like, but he liked all of it. And he liked all of his smut. My dad liked some smut, bro. I'll never forget this. I know I've told you guys this, but I'm going to say it anyways again because it's so funny. My dad busted in the room one day, had a handful of like nudie mags and was smacking them against the frame of the door. And he was like, these are not for you. You do not look at this until you're 18 years old. And I was like maybe 13. And I was literally caught like Harry Palm. Like, dude, it was so embarrassing and he didn't give a single shit. He was like, no. Because I had gone in his armoire and got him, but his guns were in the armoire. And I think he was more afraid of that. I think he was more comfortable talking about that than he was the guns. There's reasons that I'm not going to talk about with the guns on here, but like, so I think that he just didn't want me in the armoire because, like, as a kid, you get curious.
His place, yeah.
What was his job again?
Well, he had a few jobs, but he did like some police work and some security work, and he was a military guy.
He did some police work and stuff. Yeah,
dude, it's a miracle. He not a stand-up dude. Very Harvey Keitel, but not quite that bad. But like, I don't know what was up with him, man. I have very few memories, and one of them is very, very violent. And it wasn't involving me or anything, but I was real young when he quit doing that stuff. But I remember him doing security. I remember he messed up, man. You ever have somebody that does something that's so stupid that you just can't quit thinking about it. Like so even as a kid, I understood how stupid this was. Because he had all this background in military and police work, and they got this job as a security guard of an apartment complex. All he had to do was take I think it was like a lap around every like hour for, I think 12 hours at a time though. So like every hour he had to go up and go do it, but he had to do it 5 days a week, and they covered his entire rent and they paid him. And he messed it up. Like he just let it go to shit. And I just, for my whole life, I've thought that is like the sweetest gig of all time. You get paid and you get free rent. So he had like buku cash, and his job was very easy because, well, depending on the neighborhood you're in, back then that neighborhood was fine, but he still got to carry a weapon. Like he was armed guard, like he was armed security. And I mean, the only part about it that sucked is you had to physically walk it, and you couldn't use a golf cart. But I think nowadays you probably have a golf cart to ride around on, or maybe even a van or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, dude.
Paul Blurting it up.
Oh, dude, I knew you were going to say Paul Blart. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, man, good old Pops, dude. I was thinking about him the other day, man. I don't really have a lot of fond memories of him, but I was just thinking about how it sucks that my kids don't get to meet him, man. I'm irritated with him for not taking better care of himself, because I sure hope I'm here to meet my grandbabies.
I mean, he might have been a completely different person by now, too.
Do what now?
They might have been a completely different.
Dude, I think about that all the time too. Is because
having grandkids and
well, when he died, I mean, he was, because he had grandkids when he died. My brother had kids, but I remember around that time he was getting towards 60. He was like 57 when he died, and he was like chilling out. I remember he was like a little heavier. He was a little more comfortable. He had married this woman, and they'd been together for some years, and he seemed kind of happy. And but that ultimately was his demise. I mean, he just got unhealthy, and he had a pacemaker, and that was a really bad choice to do all the things he was doing, eat the things he was eating. Movie podcast. Yeah. But I was thinking about movies he let me watch. I was trying to come up with like a crazy one, but it was a lot of like nudity in these action flicks back in the 90s and 80s that they were putting in, and you'd have like just brutal bloody violence and then shower scenes for like 5 full minutes. And you're like, why is this in here? And it's some dude's butt, and then it's like some naked woman, and you're like, all right. But Double Impact was the first one. But yeah, we watched like a bunch of war movies together. Those are pretty gnarly sometimes.
Yeah.
But not like Bad Lieutenant. Did y'all watch anything else this week? Has everybody seen Spider-Man now? You're not feeling it?
No, I was gonna go. My son said it was amazing.
No, it's fucking amazing.
I mean, you guys all said it was amazing. I don't know why I haven't been able to make it to the movies. I don't know. No,
you've been dealing with some lately, so I get it.
Yeah, I get the migraines and all, but I don't know. Like, I get the weekend, I got the ticket bought, and I'm just like,
Bro, sometimes it ain't worth going out and being around people, man.
Yeah. That's what I keep telling myself. I'm like, there's plenty of stuff I could watch, and I just bought all these new TVs. Like, whatever. I'm good.
You never made it to Guardians.
I'm not even mad about that response. I totally get that. You know what?
I should have made it to Guardians.
Guardians was good, man. I think one of the cool things about this new place is it's got carpet in the living room, so I'm going to run wire and put surround sound in the living room finally.
Hell yeah.
We'll be able to watch fist fighting in full 5.1 surround sound.
Is that pretty much a done deal?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, now we're just trying to decide if we're buying one or renting one. Yeah, so we're likely going to buy it if they'll accept our credit score. So
good for you.
Yeah, it's different, but it looks like a really good trial run for buying a big, nice home at one point. So I'm like nervous and super excited at the same time. But I mean, it just kind of fell in our laps. Like we weren't even really planning it until the end of the year. Like you guys had mentioned it. I hadn't even mentioned it yet because we hadn't really gotten to planning anything, but we were definitely looking at moving soon. It's just not enough space anymore. Like every time I get up, I'm like, ugh, there's so much crap and so many people in this little bitty house.
Yeah.
So
I feel the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. And so especially with the big old dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll be far, but it's a straight shot. It's not hard to find. I'm still gonna attempt to work at Alamo. And so we'll see how that goes. I am likely going to buy a new car. And so with that car, I'll be able to travel easily and dependably. So I'm making a lot of money up there, so there's no point in me quitting if I don't have to. But awesome, dude. Well, we'll be back in about a week with episode. We're gonna skip 134 because that's gonna be uploaded tomorrow. I think it's me and Kenna doing All Hallows Eve and the origin of Art the Clown a little bit. It's kind of a shallow movie as well, so wasn't a whole lot of talk about that. But it's about an hour-long podcast. We talked about all kinds of movies. You get to know her a little bit. She will be back in a couple of weeks, and then we'll be back in about a week with 135, and that is Bring Out the Dead or is it Bringing Out the Dead?
Bringing
Out the Dead, Scorsese, John Goodman, Nicolas Cage, weird, dark, quirky. I don't even know if it's a horror movie. It's just like a weird, dark, quirky ghost story-ish type of thing. I don't really know if that's even the right.
Yeah, it's kind of got some similarities to Taxi Driver a little bit, except he's an ambulance.
That's a good
driver. Patricia Arquette, also Tom Sizemore.
See, that's the people I didn't even realize were in it.
Really
it's been a while since I watched this one.
Yeah.
If it's got Patricia Arquette, you know it's weird.
That's actually not even wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Dude.
I'm excited. I've never seen it.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys in about a week. Gentlemen, don't hang up quite yet. And everybody else, have a good night. Peace.